What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith. And on today's show, we have a positive Steph Curry injury update after he left in the second quarter very early on against the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1. Golden State was luckily to hang on in that game and win by 11 to take a 1-0 series lead, but a hamstring strain means Steph is going to miss some time, and we have some info as to how much time he will actually miss in this series. Before we get into everything you need to know about the Curry injury update, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because this is why you subscribe. A video every time Warriors news breaks, especially big stuff like this with the Steph injury, we're bringing you guys the content. Also, streams for every single Warriors game as well. We are 93,000 strong here at Warriors Today, and I want you to be a part of the ride. So join us for Game 2 on Thursday, and lock us in as the number one spot for Warriors content on YouTube whenever the news breaks. All right, this came in from Shams Charania earlier today, saying Golden State Stephen Curry has sustained a grade 1. If you watched our video that we uploaded late last night, grade 1 is good news for Warriors fans. Left hamstring strain and will be ruled out for Game 2 against Minnesota on Thursday. We kind of knew this, and Steve Kerr had assumed it leaving Game 1 on Tuesday. It is the first strained muscle of Curry's career, which is absolutely insane to me. So exact return timetable is unclear due to the first rehab that's like this. And then Shams followed it up with this quote tweet saying, the Warriors expect Steph Curry to miss at least 1 week with the grade 1 left hamstring strain. An exact return will be based on how the All-NBA guard responds to rehab with, again, his first muscle strain of his entire career. That's actually insanity to me. And just for more context, the Warriors PR put this statement out as well. They said Golden State Warriors guard Stephen Curry, who exited last night's game against Minnesota, with 8:19 remaining in the second quarter with a strained left hamstring, underwent an MRI this morning. The MRI confirmed that the injury is grade 1, and Curry will be reevaluated in 1 week. So what does that mean for Steph Curry's timeline as far as a return? It looks like he's going to miss not only Game 2, Game 3, but also Game 4. That will be a week's time. Thank you, Adam Silver, for absolutely butchering the NBA playoff schedule with only one game in between, and even one day in between games when they're changing cities. It's malpractice and another blunder by the NBA commissioner. But how this injury happened, Curry ended up, trying to jump a Mike Conley pass, stopped, planted, and jumped. And then when he came back down, he started kind of favoring that hamstring. And as time went on, the pain intensified, and he had to ask himself out of the game. Overall, it is honestly insane to me that this is his first muscle strain of his career. As far as the conditioning that he's gone through, yes, he's seen ankle injuries, some knee stuff, joint-related injuries. But as far as muscle goes, this guy has been in tip-top shape for his entire career. One of the best conditioned athletes in all of sports, in my opinion. And it's insane to me that this is his first muscle strain of his entire career. Some more details on what the grade 1 strain could mean from our Twitter doctor that we were talking about last night. He said, in general, grade 1 strains usually land around 7 to 10 days missed, but that varies based on the athlete, age, mechanics, MRI findings, and risk of repeat injury. And I can't lie to you, age is definitely a factor with the 37-year-old Steph Curry. This isn't something that is music to our ears, but it's something that we have to deal with at this point in time. Look, Golden State's going to need people to step up, and we want Steph back as quickly as possible. We also want him back at 100% so he's able to positively contribute if he's able to return during this Timberwolves series. It looks like he's not going to be available till Game 5. The goal for Golden State has to be get 1 of the next 3, and you'll be tied up 2-2 heading into Game 5 with Curry hopefully available for the rest of the series, because it looked like he was on the road to a monster series in the Western Conference semifinals. In Game 1, in just 13 minutes played, he had 13 points scored, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep. Look, it was looking like this was going to be a massive series for Steph. He was finally getting open looks. He was shaking defenders in isolation. Shout out Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Where are your shoes at, bro? He was getting open on off-ball screens, which we know that Minnesota is bad at defending throughout this NBA season. It looked like it was going to be a monster series for Steph. And Kerr had talked to Steph, and the only thing that Steve Kerr could do, he said in the postgame he really couldn't find the words. He just gave Steph a big old hug, and he said Curry was absolutely crushed by the injury with the care and the effort that he puts in and day out to be out there on the floor for Golden State and to carry them to where they need to go. Of course he's absolutely crushed. He's one of the hardest working players in the entire sport. And like I mentioned, this was going to be a 35-point-per-game series for Steph. That's what makes me so mad, is that he was literally going to get into a rhythm, and I really think that Minnesota would have had real trouble and we would have been looking at a Western Conference Finals appearance for the Warriors. Now the road there is so much more difficult now, but the Golden State Warriors are going to have to weather the storm. And their team and Steph's teammates know that now. There's a chip on their shoulder. Kevon Looney said this about Golden State's mentality heading into Game 2 and beyond. He said it's super motivating. He's carried us a lot on his back to the highest level. He set a high standard, and you just want to kind of follow that. He knows we got his back. However long it's going to be, we're going to go out there and fight and try to win. We ain't going to put our heads down. We know how to fight. We know how to be the men at war. I love it. I love it. It's not a next man up mentality for the Golden State Warriors. It's a next men up mentality. The whole squad coming together to just do the little things that can take you over the edge to be able to win these grit and grind games. Look, as far as what Golden State has right now on their roster, not a lot of on-ball shot creation. They lose their best by far in Curry, so it's going to be the little things like creating second-chance opportunities. Maybe look and take a page out of the Rockets book as to how they got a bunch of wins over Golden State last series. Beat them up, be physical, get on the offensive glass, create live ball turnovers, get the easy buckets out in transition. So the offense comes a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about getting a bunch of great looks or hitting a super high clip of outside shots in the half-court offense. Look, it's a next man up mentality, but it's a next men up mentality. And next, we're going to talk about how the Warriors can fight and win Game 2 and go up 2-0 on the road in this series. That in just a moment. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Just pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money watching your favorite sports in real time. It's so awesome. I've been a customer even longer than they've been a sponsor here at Chat Sports because they always want to make it easier for you guys to win real money watching your favorite sports. Like the deals they offer. Taco Tuesday, for instance, where they discount a player's stat projections. Or Flex Friday, where if you lose your lineup, they'll give it back to you in promo funds up to $20. And our special deal that we offer here as well. Code CLNS. Use that promo code like you see in the bottom right of your screen and get $50 instantly when you place your first $5 entry. If you guys want an example of what an entry looks like, I got one for you. Tonight's basketball playoff action, I got Jason Tatum more than 28 points. Bounce back for JT. Jalen Brunson less than 27 points. I'm going back to the well on that. I think he wouldn't have hit that number if the game didn't go to overtime in Game 1. And then Al Horford, he's going to be playing big minutes with Kristaps Porzingis kind of battered and bruised. Give me more than 5.5 boards for him. He's going to have to clean up the glass. You can take my picks or fade them. Just do it at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the promo code CLNS for $50 instantly when you place your first $5 entry. You don't have to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. All that information will be clickable down in the comment section and description of today's video. Look, naturally, Golden State Warriors fans, I'd assume behind closed doors the Golden State Warriors roster is deflated by this news, and I'm sure the Minnesota Timberwolves are very happy with the outcome here. Obviously, they're not going to be praising Steph Curry's injury or anything like that, but they're facing a much easier opponent now in a Curryless Warriors. I'll be frank with you guys. I don't think there's a very high chance that Golden State goes out there and wins Game 2. We'll talk about the spread from the odds makers out west in a little bit, but Golden State's not looked at very favorably as with their chances to win this game. Jimmy Butler said this about the Curry injury and how they move forward. He said it's tough, one of the greatest to ever do it, and he wants to be out there. I think he knows, and we know how much easier the game is for us whenever he's hooping at a high level. But I think we're all prepared to compete and win without him. We don't want to, but we are prepared, and we may have to. Yes, they are going to have to here. And Jimmy is going to have to be one of the guys. Probably the main guy, as I think he's the best player for Golden State as far as getting to his spots and drawing in defense and having a little bit of gravity on that end. He's going to have to be an aggressive scorer again. He's going to have to, make some plays like we saw in the Houston series where he had to take over and go be a downhill threat for Golden State. Get to the rim, get to the free throw line, drive into the paint, draw on some defense, and kick out to those open shooters. See if Buddy's out there, Jimmy's good friend, and he can knock down a couple more shots because he's been super active all across the floor, filling up the stat sheet night in and night out. And keep in mind, Butler ends up missing a big portion of one of the Rockets games. So these numbers are a little bit skewed, but he's averaging close to 20 a night in the postseason. He's filling up with 7 boards and 5 assists. He's shooting fairly efficiently as well, and compared to how he started his Golden State career shooting from three-point range, he's 7 of 24 right now. That's a little close to 30%. I'll take it at the end of the day. Look, Jimmy is in those situations where he has the ball in his hands deep in the shot clock and has to launch a three, I swear that the percentage has to be over 50%. He just knows when a bucket is needed, he's going to suffice. And with Steph out, there's going to be a lot of those situations, no doubt about it. Look, I think that with what Steph contributes to this team, Golden State knows that they have a lot on their plate now. But it's not something that's completely unfamiliar territory for them. This is not the first time that Steph has missed a multiple game stretch of postseason action. Think back to 2016 when the Dubs went 73-9. I know we don't want to talk about the outcome of that postseason, but Steph missed some time, and I know a lot of Warriors fans like to point to Steph not being 100% for the rest of the postseason, but he missed some time and was able to come back. Golden State got some wins in that scenario. I think he missed the last game of the first round and the first 3 games of the second round. Golden State was able to rally and get some wins, albeit they had a much younger Klay Thompson, much younger Draymond Green, Iguodala, all that good stuff. A better roster, no doubt, but I think that these Warriors are ready to get it rolling, and Draymond knows that. He said, it helps that we've been through this before. You can lean on those experiences. We're going to hold him down. We've got to. It helps that we got game 1, and it helps that we got Jimmy Butler. And as far as pointing to game 1 goes, yeah, we're going to need more hot shooting from Draymond Green. And I'm not saying that we're going to need him to start every game the rest of the series, 4 or 5 from deep, but 1 or 2 games for the duration that Curry will be out, yeah, we're probably going to need it. Look, the odds are stacked against Golden State. Draymond is not a guy that we can rely upon night in and night out to go light it up from distance, especially at a high volume. So there's just going to need to be some of these anomaly type of nights from Draymond and especially a couple of the other cats on Golden State that can space his floor, like our good friend Buttered. Shout out Buttered, Hield, with 2 back-to-back games of his life, to be quite honest with you. 33 in Game 7 against Houston, 24 in Game 1 against Minnesota. Keep it up, buddy. And I feel like he's been injected with such confidence over these last few games since entering the starting lineup, since being a huge focal point for Golden State's offensive production. He has been awesome. And not only on the offensive end, he's been great on defense as well. And that cannot be understated. Steve Kerr has mentioned it. Jimmy has mentioned it. Buddy's been getting his hand in passing lanes. Really an underrated fast break player as well. He is not afraid to take a defender one-on-one to the rack on the break and finish at the rim. It has been a sight to behold for me personally, who didn't really know Buddy Hield had this part of his game. But he's been a revelation, and I hope that he can continue playing at this consistent level. Maybe not 24 or 33, but can he give me 15? Can he give me 20 over these next couple of games without Steph? I think that would go a long way. Hield postgame said this about his performance. He said, "I was Batman today. I saved the day. He, a.k.a. Jimmy, was still Robin," which I just wanted to bring this stuff up because, man, what a post-game presser. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch these two go at it in the post-game, throwing jabs, throwing jives, keeping it fresh. This is America's current new favorite duo out there in the sports world. Buddy was talking about how GP2's the dumb brother, and Jimmy goes, "You literally wore the wrong shorts to start the game." The audacity. And they were just going back and forth about who's better, what Buddy has to do differently on the floor. And overall, like, can Golden State win a couple of games on vibes here? Like, that's what I'm kind of grasping at here. As, look, they have the odds stacked against them. They are plus 10.5 in Game 2. So the people out west think the Golden State's going to lose this game by double digits. Can we get some wins off of vibes? Can the chemistry be good enough between Jimmy, Draymond, Butler, Buddy, Pods? Moody's been awful to start this playoff series. Can we get something out of him? It's going to need to be all hands on deck. Golden State's got the odds stacked against him. And we know that the Wolves are going to play better than they did in Game 1. There's no doubt about it. They started this game 0 of 16 from three-point range. They're 5 of 29 overall. They're going to shoot better. They were one of the best shooting teams in the playoffs leading up to this series. And Laker fans were crying all around Twitter after Game 1, talking about how the Wolves shot poorly. I will credit the Golden State defense a little bit as well. And keep in mind, Golden State has to clean up a couple other things as well, like turnovers and offensive rebounds. Look, they forced a lot of Minnesota Timberwolves turnovers in Game 1. I believe it was 17. They also out-rebounded Minnesota on the offensive glass, 18-12. So these are things that if Minnesota takes advantage of, they're going to win by like 30. Like, if they can clean up these mistakes, they're going to win by a lot. But if Golden State can keep forcing them into mistakes and keep making them uncomfortable, then things will be in their favor. They got to muck it up. They're not going to win this game on straight isolation basketball. That was never their brand. And with Curry out of the lineup, It's definitely not their brand now. You tell me, though, what's your number one key and how do the Warriors win game 2? What has to happen for Golden State to go up 2-0 in this series? I want to hear from Dub Nation down in the comments before we get out of here. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Join us once again for Game 2's watch party on Thursday. Lock us in as your number one spot for Warriors content. Whenever the news goes down, we're bringing you guys a video. So hit that big red sub button. We'll see you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go Dubs.